Welcome to the Baskipedia Podcast. Tonight we have Lauren Glenn of Olivet Nazarene University and Doug Porter of Bethel University. Doug used to be the coach at Olivet, and Lauren took over the program for him, and they are playing each other on Wednesday night, and it's a rare occurrence that you get two system teams to play each other. So on this edition, we'll be discussing their game and asking them some questions about the system. So stay tuned. Welcome everybody. Tonight I have Lauren Glenn from Olivet Nazarene, and don't mind his thing. He's not Pam. He is Doug Porter from Bethel. These two know each other very well. They're both system coaches. Lauren used to coach with Doug or for Doug, and Lauren has taken the program over and done big things, winning 20-something games a year for about the last 7 years in a row. And Doug's in his second season at Bethel. And I brought him on tonight because they're playing tomorrow night. And you don't, when only 1% of colleges, or maybe even less than that, run the system, you don't get to see a system team versus a system team. Did you guys just plan the game, or did it come about? You guys talk about it? How did the game come about?
I don't know. Did you ask me to play at homecoming, or did I ask you? I don't remember.
I think you asked me, and we were really looking forward to it being a big event where we could get just a lot of alumni back from all different eras and make it a big celebration with doing our alumni meet and greet after the game. And obviously different plans arose with COVID.
It was supposed to be Friday night. Then Olivet canceled their homecoming celebrations, and so we moved it to Wednesday since it didn't matter. And now we're down to 50 total, counting players. So not a lot of fans.
Yeah, Bob Belf, you guys know well, is upset. He was planning on making the journey down there. So as you guys know, you've been on some of my Zoom stuff, and we're going to be putting together a Zoom watch party to watch you guys. And I've been told that it's not going to look pretty, but what are your guys' goals for the game? We were joking off air. I know what Doug proposed to Lauren, but I'd poke my eyes out with the pencil if he did that. So he was joking around saying play flex and play half court man. I don't see that ever happening.
It's really fast flex though.
Pressure in the 2-3.
without the down screen, just the flex cut with the flare, that version. Okay. Yeah. What do you guys have you talked about it amongst yourselves? Do you have a target number? Do you have any ideas of how high you want to go with this, or how high it can get? I mean, I asked you guys what the record is for most points in a game. Do you guys think that you can get there potentially?
No. What do you think, Lauren?
I don't think so. I mean, Doug, you have more experience playing system versus system. I remember one of my first years we at Olivet played, was it Berea down in Kentucky when Bunky was there? And yeah, just pure chaos. I think the score won't be as high maybe as people might assume or predict.
Yeah, it was like 106 to 98 or something. I mean, it was low hundreds, I think. But the thing that people don't realize, and I didn't even realize till we played Berea, is if you're both pressing each other, you're forcing a lot of turnovers, and that tempo is not, I mean, it can't be faster than full speed, which is what the system is trying to make the opponent do. So the tempo won't change, but you're both forcing a lot of turnovers. So even then, that might lead you to score more yourself. You're giving it back because they're forcing you into turnovers as well, so you lose those opportunities. So it's all a wash, I think.
So it's a little bit different preparation. Usually you're preparing for a totally different team. Did you do anything different, or you just say, hey, we're practicing against each other, this is what it's going to look like? What did you guys?
I don't know what you did to plan for us, Lauren.
Just said, hey, we're gonna do a scrimmage section, us versus us. Here we go.
Yeah. I told them all your terminology. I said 44 and 55 press, sideline 3 and 1. There we go. I think really what we talked about was just the value of just learning how to be disciplined. And the teams that beat us have usually been either teams that are physically better, which is true of everyone, in terms of how you have to compete against good teams. I mean, you're going to probably lose to teams that are physically better than you are most of the time. But also, the teams that beat you are the ones that are just disciplined, and they're able to handle the ball, handle your pressure, and don't allow you to speed them up. And yeah, we talked today in practice about, and I'm sure it was a weird feeling going over preparing for a system team in practice, because I found myself saying, this is what Olivet's going to do, and this is what they're trying to make you do. They're trying to get you out of control. That's no big secret. Lauren knows that's what they're going to try to do to us, and that's what we're going to try to do to them. I think the edge goes to the team that is better able to stay disciplined and not get flustered and not get out of control, because there's a difference between playing fast and being out of control. And if you get panicky and try to play faster than you're capable of, that's when you have issues against the system team, because that's what they're good at, is getting you to play in a way that you're not comfortable with.
Well, Doug, you've already played a game, and we watched some of that. And last year didn't go the way you wanted with the system. You had to kind of go away from it because of things that happened. Looks like the girls were picking it up pretty well, and your point guard play was really good. What do you think what is the procrastination for your season? How do you think you're going to do this year?
I think we'll just keep getting better throughout the year. It's a process for us because we're really like a first-year system team. Not only because we only played system for about 6 or 7 games last year before we started to pull in our horns due to depth problems, but also because we have so many new players. We have 9 of our top 15 are first year with us. I think 6 or 7 of those are freshmen and a couple of transfers. So we're young in terms of system experience. Even though we're better athletically and a lot more depth, we're still inexperienced. And that's the difference between us and Olivet right now, is they have a tradition of system play, and everybody who's returning has had at least 1 full season with it, but we don't. And that's what's going to be tough for us. The other issue for us is we'll get better throughout the year, but about the time we start making significant progress, about the time that, as I've always put it, the light bulb, the little cartoon light bulb that goes on over your head, ding, when you get it, you come to a realization that you actually know what you're doing and you don't have to think so much, which is our goal as a system team. That's going to be coming about the same time that we hit our conference season. And our conference is really good. I mean, the CCAC is good, but it's more like 4 or 5 really good teams spread out among 16. Isn't that where you're at right now, Lauren? 16 teams? And so
15, but yeah, I would agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, so about the time when we get to conference play, we're going to be hitting every other team we play is a top 20 caliber team. Now, not this year since NAI consolidated, but last year we had 5 of our 10 teams were ranked pretty consistently throughout the year in the top 20 to top 25. So when we get into conference play, we could be pretty good and still be in the bottom half of the league. And the top teams could literally pound us if we don't come out and play well. So that's my concern. That's my, I guess, prognosis about where we'll be this year. We're a lot better than last year in terms of our capability of playing the system, but we still have some areas that we're weak, inexperience being one and size being another. We're just not very big. So playing small ball fits us perfectly, but it would be nice to have some big forwards, which we don't have yet.
Lauren, how many returners you have coming back from last year?
We have 12.
Scouting.
Wow.
12 off of a 20-win season.
Yep.
And how many are on the roster this year?
We got 16 on our roster this year. 16.
Okay. Some red shirts then, maybe?
What's that?
Some red shirts?
No, no, just 16. We're a little short-handed. I wouldn't say short-handed, but I'd rather have 18. But that's where we're at this year.
Gotcha. Thought this would be a good question because a lot of people are kind of going back to practices and they're limited on what they can do with COVID rules. Do you guys have any ideas or drills or shooting things or what you've been doing when you couldn't really have contact? Sure, you had to go through that protocol of no contact, then you got to contact, or were you guys allowed to just have contact from day one?
Well, Indiana has actually got a rational brain in their head in terms of how that works. Sorry, California. Sorry, Illinois. But you guys I've never seen a bigger case of being overreacting. I'm old. I'm 60. I've been coaching for a long time, so I get to have opinions. I think you guys are idiots. I don't understand why you would have basketball practice where you can't pass the ball. It just blows my mind when I hear the restrictions that well-meaning athletic directors and administrators have put on people. But given that, put that aside, I guess shooting to yourself, get the shooting gun. That's one thing you can do. This is nothing. You guys can tell me more than I can tell you about how to do those things because we didn't ever have those restrictions.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still not allowed. I'm still not allowed back. I have a meeting.
Move, Mark.
I have a meeting tomorrow to discuss when we can start going back to practice. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's kind of weird without getting political. It's the day after an election, so that has anything to do with it. But Lauren, what have you done? Did you have to do something special? I think you had Doug alerted to your wacky rules. So,
yeah, we actually were pretty fortunate. We were able to have contact from the first time we were on campus. Okay. And so fortunately we had that going for us. I know a lot of the Chicago schools didn't, but we were able to play pickup games from the first time they stepped on campus in August. So I don't know if I have a lot of experience to add to the what do you do when you don't have contact. I would agree with Doug and just get some shots up. I mean, and just some fun shooting competitions. I think that's always motivating, but you probably know more too than I could add to that, Mark.
I got 2 days of it in and then it got taken away from me in the summer. And we did a lot of spin catch series and just spin it out, go run after it, catch it.
You can do a lot of form shooting. There you go. You don't even need a ball. Just spread them out around the court, 20 feet apart, and form shoot.
On the Facebook group, I did a poll. Thought I'd ask you guys this: is what's the biggest thing that's hard for coaches to teach players? And overwhelming it was to teach them the pace. How fast, how hard to play, and how fast to play. Do you guys have any pointers
for how to do that?
Yeah.
Well,
how to get them to do it
first. We're still struggling with that. What do you think, Lauren?
It's a great question. I would agree with that statement. Although Doug, you got him running pretty fast at Olivet, and you started that there, so you did something to set the tone. I think even something as simple as having them compete for a race, like they're running from one end of the court to the next, and you're putting something on the line in that case, and they're running and touching the sideline like a wing player might, and you say, nah, okay, first one, whoever wins here, give them some motivation of a reward or a consequence, and then say, that's how hard I want you running when we're running our break.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
Make it
and then blow the whistle anytime they don't, make them restart and do it again.
Yeah.
Well, I was on another podcast where a guy let me be a guest, and I had Paul Westhead in there, and he used to blow his whistle if they weren't across midcourt in 2 seconds and put them all on the line.
Yeah.
And
make a run for not running.
Yeah, kind of ironic, right? Make them.
Yeah, take the basketball away from it, and then all of a sudden it becomes work.
And then I did ask him the question, which he thought was, who did it better, women or men on the system? And his answer was kind of unique. He said, women will do exactly what you tell them to do.
Yeah.
If you tell them to run to that corner and like put their foot on the baseline, they'll do it because they're pleasers. Men will ask you why you need to put your foot on that line. So he said it did help.
Put their foot 6 inches from the line just to show you they don't have to listen to you.
And he said it did help that he had Diana trust.
Yeah.
So, and
get their foot, put it on the baseline, and give the ball to Diana.
And she said, I guess she met him at the airport and said, don't sugarcoat it, do what you did with the men. What Diana said. That's probably why she's one of the best. So,
yeah, and I would say, just to follow up with that question, Mark, we had that struggle. I've done this 3 times now at Olivet, and then at North Central, and now here at Bethel. And at North Central, even going into the second year, we still didn't really get the tempo. And so something that we would do was put 5 players in the lane and toss the ball off the boards and have a rebounder get it out to the point guard and have everybody run their lanes and sprint to their spots on the far end of the floor. And they didn't even shoot it when they got down there. They just had the point guard push it and everybody sprint to their spots as fast as they could. And if I wasn't satisfied that they were actually sprinting, then we'd come back and do it again. And we'd just until they get what it feels like to really sprint. And I often have found myself, and we're still struggling with that. We're still learning how to do that with this team at Bethel. But I often would stop and say to the team, hey, girls, I'm not really speaking metaphorically when I say run as hard as you can. I actually mean it. I really do mean sprint as fast as you can, not fast jog. I'm kind of using sarcasm as a teaching point here, so that they don't believe half of what I say, because every other comment is sarcastic. But I really do think that sometimes they don't think you're serious when you say sprint, because they've been trained that playing hard means playing hard for like 5 or 6 minutes. Now, and playing hard in the system is not playing hard like you would if you were playing 6 minutes, except just playing hard for 40 seconds. It's playing faster than that for 40 seconds. And that shift is hard to get. So every drill you do that involves either half court in or full court, you just have to keep an eye on whether they're actually sprinting. And the one thing I would suggest to new guys running the system is film your early practices and then watch the video later and ask yourself, are these kids really sprinting or are they jogging? And the video won't lie to you. You'll really see how slow they're really going at first, and what they think is fast isn't anywhere near top speed. And if they can get that concept, but I won't fool you on this. It just takes a lot of time. It's something you have to emphasize all the time. Once they get it, then it self-perpetuates, kind of like it's done at Olivet. Everybody jumps in, the newcomers come in and they get it. But up until that point, until you get it hardwired, it's a constant struggle.
Are you guys doing 3 groups or just 2 groups for your shifts?
We're going to, two shifts and intermixing players in the 2 units.
We're trying to, it depends on who's healthy. I mean, we haven't had everybody healthy yet. So for us, we've got three point guards we like, and I think that's the determining factor for us. So we're trying 3, and that 3rd unit's just not playing as much for us, but we'd rather early in the season play 3 since we have 3 point guards. Now there may come a time later on we do something different, but because we have three point guards that we like, I think we're more inclined to that in that direction.
At the high school level, is 13 too few, or is that a decent number?
I think it's a perfect number for high school. I think that's plenty because you're only playing 32 minutes. Mm-hmm. You get the quarter breaks. Well, college women get the quarter breaks now too, but you get that, and 13 with the shorter game. I think that works pretty well.
That was my thought process with having your set 10, and then you have like a 3rd string ball handler, wing, or post, whatever the last 3, and then you can, if they're playing better, you can always move the chess pieces around, right? So, yeah. Where do you guys think this go with the system on the women's side? Lauren, I think you've set the record. Is it at 107? Is that the number? Or am I wrong? Is that as high as you've gotten it for a season?
Or average scoring in a season?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We're at 111.
111.
A couple years back.
Yeah. Was that with Abby?
Mm-hmm.
When you
that was after Abby, Coach.
You sure?
Yeah, pretty sure. Because you guys went back from Grinnell to Olivet 4 out, and you did that one last year. Well, it wasn't one. I mean, you're still doing that, but you went back to that and really pushed tempo. And then since then, you guys have been a little more conservative defensively. But that was the year you just went all out, and it was after Abby. I'm almost certain because you went back to 4 out and your scoring average went up. Grinnell takes a little longer to score, actually, surprisingly, because you're running players off screens, and in the 4 out Olivet style, you can score really quickly, just the nature of the structure. So I'm pretty sure. You can check and let me know, but
I believe you. You can tell how often I keep track of all that stuff.
I know all your records. Broke all of mine, so
I'm more worried about if we're going to score tomorrow, you know.
Lauren, would you compare and contrast the Grinnell and the Olivet? Because you're the only women's coach that I know that's really ran the Grinnell version. Most of them have not. I mean, because of Doug starting it on the girls' side and doing the Olivet, and a lot of people's belief that the guards are too small to throw the ball to the fade and the curl. What can you compare and contrast the two?
I really enjoyed doing the Grinnell when we did it, but I think it really takes an elite point guard who's a really good passer and who can also score at the rim. So they have to be a threat, and then they have to be able to be a really good passer. I don't know if the size matters quite as much as it does just their passing ability and decision making, because there's so much pressure on them to be able to make that play. So if you've got a great point guard who could score at the rim and who's also a really good passer and could even make those jump passes and be decisive about that, then I really like it. And we also did it because we just felt like she was our best driver, and we'd rather not have certain other people driving and just being able to pick their spots and shoot the ball. We went away from that when we felt like we didn't necessarily have that point guard who could score it at the rim and who was an elite level passer. So that's when we felt like the ONU, we went back to that ONU style.
Okay. The issue though is you got to have more than one elite point guard to run the Grinnell. Because of system. I mean, you're playing either two,
Exactly.
potentially even three players at that spot. So
Exactly. Yeah.
Probably three at times, because you're just killing your players at 40-minute game if you're just going AB, AB, AB with your point guards. I mean, Doug's done it. Other people have done it. Probably maybe they'll move their shooting guard, 2-point guard on a shift here or there to give the top point guards a rest. I mean, there's strategy and all that stuff. Me being new to it, I'm not necessarily worried about the XO part too much. I'm more worried about the in game and designing of shifts and getting the right shifts together and moving that around. How long does that take? I mean, you guys have been doing it for years. Is that a big learning curve?
You probably have more to talk about with that, Doug. Yeah.
I've tinkered with it. The confounding factor for me has always been injuries. I can plan all those units and try to get them all balanced out, and then somebody will get hurt and it messes everything up, or somebody gets COVID or gets contact traced. What we're doing this year is something I've never done before, which is try to play more positionless. And we're working towards that. We haven't got it totally figured out yet, but once you're positionless, it doesn't matter. I mean, the structure of the shifts is not quite as critical. I remember going years ago, going to Grinnell and talking with Coach Arsenault, and he had me watch practice. They were kind of in preseason, and the guys were just playing pickup ball in the gym and shooting around a little bit. So I was in there, and several of his guys came up and introduced themselves. They're really polite, well-mannered kids and just really sharp young men. And they came up and said who they were, and I said, well, what position do you play? And they all told me their position in terms of where they played on defense. I'm a left wing, or I'm an up, or I'm a safety. They didn't talk at all about where they were on offense. And the reason for that is that in the way Coach Arsenault designed it with them was where you were on defense determines where you are on offense, which we picked up on. But that was the emphasis. It's your defensive skill that determines where you're playing on the floor. What's your skill set for defense? But the right wing was where he would put his best scorer, best shooter, because they were running off the double screen. So whoever you put in that position tended to be, have the skills to do that on offense and defense. So to get back to your question, creating units, you have to take both those things into account. Do you have the right kids on the floor defensively? Do you have the right kids on the floor offensively? Do you have enough scorers to make it work? Do you have rebounders? And sometimes you'll get a unit out on the floor and you say, what was I thinking? But you just get through it and okay, let's move on and get the next group out there. This year for me, it's been pretty easy because my thought process in a nutshell has been, I'm going to keep my top unit together because they've been playing with each other for a while. And I'm going to put a couple of freshmen with them in that unit because the freshman point guard that I put with them, I think was the best passer. She's the most inclined to give them the ball. And then with my second unit, I kept some kids together who liked each other. So in both cases, it was a matter of keeping kids together who either played well together or liked each other, or were friends off the court. And I figured, well, why, they're in college ball, let them play together, let them play in their same group. And so that's part of the thought process that's not real technical. It's not X and O stuff. It's more interpersonal relationships. Yeah. So there's a lot of things to go into it. I think bottom line is just you trust your gut and you'll figure it out, and trial and error until you feel confident that you've got 10 kids that you can rely on.
I got a group of 6 seniors and 7 underclassmen. So I was half tempted, maybe at one point with it, just putting the six seniors in a group and the 7 other
Mark, that's illegal. You can't do that.
Is that illegal?
You can't play 6. I wish you could.
So, well, one would obviously be rotated in with the 6. So, yes,
Makes sense.
I would want 6. There wouldn't be enough spacing on the floor.
Yeah, but if they get along, that helps. There's nothing wrong with that, and they have fun with it. And there's something to be said for splitting up your best players too. And if your best players are in one group, that can work. But you're really going to see a bigger fall off with the other group too. So the bottom line is there's no one right way to do it.
Lauren, how often throughout the season do you switch up your shifts? Are you constantly doing it, or at some point do you just say these are our shifts and then we're just rolling with it?
I think the beginning of the year, those first several games, we're really just trying to find that chemistry that Doug is talking about. And it does really come into who we feel like likes playing with each other too. And it's funny with females, I think some of that really does play into their chemistry. And then once we get we feel like a flow, or we feel like there's a good chemistry, we pretty much go with those units, except for, injury, as Doug mentioned, and we've experienced a lot of that in the past. And so there is having to be adaptable and then change the players playing different positions or playing with different units. And then this year there is COVID. And so we've kind of just mentioned that early on, that just be ready for anything. I think it really does help when you have your 1s and your 5s playing together, that those two are very helpful from an inbounds and getting the offense initiated. But I don't think it's quite as necessary with some of those other positions to find that right balance.
Yeah, the 5s are the inbounders in our terminology. So yeah, if you can get them coordinated with the point guard that they like, that prevents a lot of miscommunications.
So did you guys have to switch your referee handles for tomorrow night's game?
We don't have any plays in yet. So we haven't had time to try to learn how to play.
I don't think we'll be running any plays tomorrow.
I think the first person that runs a play, the system coaches will vote you guys off the island. Just kidding. We're gonna have a good time tomorrow night. I appreciate you guys coming on. I hope you guys enjoy it. I know you guys are real close with each other, and I hope your programs have fun tomorrow night. And I know you guys, I'm jealous, I'm envy that you guys are playing. So we're living through you guys kind of tomorrow night. So no pressure. I'm just kidding.
What? By the way, Mark, what's the line in Vegas on the game? I haven't heard yet.
Mine was much lower than some of the other coaches said. So we did have a joking line, but this is collegiate athletics, so I don't know if I could say the lines.
Well, we're looking forward to it. It'll be fun, and I'm trying not to stress about it. It is in a way just another game. It's not. I mean, you want to win, you want to do well, but it'll be fun to get back home to Olivet and see people. And I wish there could be a crowd there, but we're excited about it and just hope that we can use it as a learning tool and try to get better.
So since Doug brought it up, is there a friendly wager for dinner after the game?
Yeah. Jimmy Joe's coupon for a month. I guess
there you go,
Lauren.
Is that where you're going? There you go.
Yeah. In fact, my assistant called him today. This is a barbecue place in town that we basically lived at and took all our recruits to, just so we could get a free meal at Jimmy Joe's. But we called in today and placed the order for pickup tomorrow night after the game. And a lady said, "Hey, by the way, is your head coach named Doug?" And then my assistant said, "Yeah, as a matter of fact, he is. He used to eat here all the time. We still have like an honorary seat for him." So great place. We're looking forward to the food and the fun.
Thought you were going to tell me that they wanted you to pay your bill.
Yeah. I was not a freeloader.
I'm just, so we'll be on watching you guys. I just want to wish you guys health, good luck. Thank you guys for all you do for system basketball. Coming on to this, doing this, spending some time tonight. I know it's crazy night. It's election night. I'm not giving you any information, Doug. Don't worry. I just know it's the election night. So, so good luck tomorrow. We'll be on there cheering for you. I'll send you, Doug. I'll send you a text on the line. Okay.
Okay.
And then I'll set the over under too.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay. Thanks, Lauren.
Thanks, Mark. Yeah, appreciate it.
All right. We'll be cheering you
tomorrow,
guys
Doug.
tomorrow night.
All right. See you, Lauren.
Okay. See ya.
Welcome to the Baskipedia Podcast. Tonight we have Lauren Glenn of Olivet Nazarene University and Doug Porter of Bethel University. Doug used to be the coach at Olivet, and Lauren took over the program for him, and they are playing each other on Wednesday night, and it's a rare occurrence that you get two system teams to play each other. So on this edition, we'll be discussing their game and asking them some questions about the system. So stay tuned.